Hello everyone and welcome to the den. Today we are canning Great Northern beans. So the first thing that I did it yesterday, was I put 4 pounds of beans in my Cambro. So here it is right here. It's full. This is a 6-quart Cambro. And so 4 pounds fits nicely in that. It's all the way to the top with these beans. So we're gonna see how many pints I can get out of the 4 pounds. I'm hoping to get 20. Last time I did 7 pounds of black beans and I had enough because I wanted to have some for dinner. And if I have enough, hopefully I'll have enough for this so I can make white chili tonight, but if I don't, it's fine. But I did 7 pounds and I had enough to do 20 pints plus I did dinner twice with them and I froze 2 bags for dinner 2 more times. So we'll see how much this yields. I'm trying to figure it out down to a science because every time I do it, it's different. So I really just need to get it down and say 4 pounds, boom, 20 pints. Anyways, because it says in the book 3.5 pounds for 8 pints, but that's just not right. So anyway, trying to figure that out. But that's what I'm doing today. So yesterday I put these in and put them in water and just left them on the counter and let them soak until today. I did that yesterday evening. Right now what I'm doing is I have my jars in the sink with hot soapy water along with my lids, and I'm going to pull those out, rinse them, put them on the towel over here, and then I'm going to get my beans all rinsed and get them in my big pot. Here's my big pot. This is my big pot. Because that's 6 quarts, I needed a big pot. So this is the same pot I did my black beans in last week. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna get them in the big pot and I'm gonna bring them to a boil and I'll let them boil for about 20 to 30 minutes. So that's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna add anything but salt to these beans. My black beans, I added some spices and some onion and some green chili, but these ones I just want to be plain old beans. So they will just be beans with water and salt. So I'm gonna get this moving and I'll be back. Make sure you rinse your beans after they've soaked and don't use this water, just get rid of it. So that's what I'm doing now, and like I said, I'm gonna put them in the pot and we'll get them on the stove. All right, so right now what I'm doing is filling up this pot and I'm going to cover these beans and give them about 1 inch or 2 of water above the bean line. So what we're doing right now, it's almost filled, and I'm just gonna move it over to the stove, put it on high heat. I'm not gonna add anything else to these beans. It's just gonna be beans and water, and I'm gonna bring this to a boil. And in the meantime, I'm gonna finish cleaning my jars. Okay, so my beans have boiled for about 20 to 30 minutes, and I have my funnel here, and I'm going to just start filling these up. I also have my salt right here, my canning salt. So I'm just going to go ahead and ladle in my beans. And yes, I'm using the bean water. This is the same water you would be cooking your beans in if you were going to eat them. So this water is perfectly fine to funnel in here too. And you're gonna have a 1 inch headspace on these, so I like to come up to about the neck here because they still may expand some. You don't want to have too much siphoning. So I think that this is a good amount here. Now as you can see, that line, we're about right here, and then I'll fill to the 1 inch headspace with the liquid. So let me go ahead and do that. And I also have extra water in my kettle if I need it. And that should be about good. I will have to make sure my headspace is good when I go to debubble. But the only thing I'm gonna add in here is my 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay, so this one is done, and I'm going to continue filling up my jars. And then when it comes time to debubble, I'll be right back. Okay, so I filled all of my jars here, and now I'm just gonna debubble, and you're gonna just go around each side and down the middle. And then you're going to adjust that headspace if you need to. So I'm good on this one, and that's what you're going to do for every single one. It's very important to debubble to get any of those air pockets out. And then add your, like I said, add your salt if you're going to add your salt. So I'm going to do the rest of these, and then I'll come back and I'll wipe my rims, and we'll do that next. Okay, so all of my headspace has been adjusted. I've debubbled. Now I'm going to take these and clean the rims with a dampened towel. You can use vinegar or just water. These don't have fat in them, so it's perfectly fine to use a dampened paper towel with just water. At the same time that you're wiping your rims, if you haven't already checked your rims for nicks or anything like that, cracks in your jars, do that at the same time. You don't want to have any nicks or cracks in your jars because it will prevent your jars from sealing properly. You want to create a tight vacuum inside these jars, and that's what the canning process does. But if there's any type of obstruction between the lid and your rim, then it's not going to seal properly, and that's not what you want. You don't want to go through all of this work just to have it not seal. I have all the rims cleaned. And I'm just going to put my lids on. Now you just have to wash these in hot soapy water and set them aside to dry. They don't have to be heated up or anything like that. Now when I'm water bath canning, I am more cautious with the lids, but it really doesn't matter because any germs or microorganisms are going to be killed in the canning process. So, and as long as you're water bath canning for more than 10 minutes, it's going to kill anything too. Just like if you were in a situation where you had to boil water because there could be pathogens in the water, boiling for 10 minutes purifies your water. So same kind of principle here. Now after I put my lids on, then you put the band on. And with the band, when you're tightening, it's just finger tight. So you're not over tightening because you're, using your elbow. It's just a finger tight like that. You want it tight enough that the lid stays on there, but you don't want it over tight where steam can't escape and the air can't escape out of the jar as it's processing. So out of this 4 pounds of beans, I got 15 pints, which I wanted to do 20. So next time I'll do 5 pounds of dry beans. I think that'll be the perfect amount, 5 pounds. And I had the extra pound. Oh man, I had the extra pound out too. It's in the pantry, and I thought, well, I don't want to have so much extra, even though it would have just been better to have extra. Making sure I got all those. Okay, I got them all. Now I'm gonna get these in the canner. Okay, so this is my canner. It's a 23 quart Presto. It will hold 20 pints of regular mouth pints, but again, only had 15. So I'm gonna put 8 on the bottom and 7 on the top. Now if you don't want to stick your hand down in here with this steam coming out, because the beans are hot, so I have my canner already, the water warmed up in here. If you don't want to stick your hand down in there, you can always use your jar lifter. It'll give you some space in between the jars and the steam. Okay, there's 8, and here's my other rack. Just stick that in there, and we'll get the rest in. Okay, so all the jars are loaded up, and the next step is you're gonna grab your lid. On your lid here, you have this pipe right here. Just make sure that you can see through it. If you've just recently washed it, sometimes water gets in it. Just blow through it and make sure that you can see through it. And then this canner, you line up the arrows. So arrow to arrow, and nest it on there, and it'll kind of drop down and just turn. And this is all you do right now. Okay, so the heat is at medium, and all we're waiting for right now is for this to come to a vent stage. Once this comes to a vent, I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so now we're at a full vent here. You can see the steam steadily coming out. That's what you're looking for. My breath is pushing it away, but you're looking for a full vent there, and you're gonna wanna set your timer. Once you get to this point, and it's really coming out really good and steady, for a while it won't look steady. So you gotta wait for it to be steady. Once it's coming out pretty solid and steady, set your timer for 10 minutes. Okay, so our timer has come to an end, and we have gone through the entire vent stage. So now all we're gonna do is put our weight onto the pipe, okay? So at this point in the game, we've put our weight on here, and we're just waiting for this dial to come to whatever pressure your elevation requires. Now, where I live, it's 13 pounds of pressure. So I'm gonna wait for this thing to build up to 13, and then I can start my timer. Okay, so my gauge has reached the 13 pounds of pressure that it needs to be at. So now all I'm gonna do now is adjust my heat. I'm gonna turn it down just slightly a little bit because it's gonna continue to build pressure. I'm just gonna turn it down just a smidge, and I'm gonna set my timer for 75 minutes because I'm doing pints of beans. If you were doing quarts, you would do it for 90. So right now what you're doing in this time, you're gonna monitor this gauge, and you're gonna make sure that it stays at whatever your pounds of pressure is. So mine's 13, so I'm gonna make sure mine stays at 13 or higher. I keep mine around the 14 to 15 mark. Usually mine kind of stays right at the 15, and that's fine. You don't wanna go, this thing will start to rock after, it's a 15-pound weight. So once it gets there, it starts to rock, and I know that I have too much heat. So I can adjust my heat that way. But the one thing that you do not want to do is to not let it go below your pressure point. So I'm not gonna let this go below 13. If that happened, I would have to restart, I would have to get it back up to 13 and restart my timer all over again, which I do not wanna do. So I will make sure that it stays, you know, around 14 or 15 for the next 75 minutes. Okay, so timer just went off, the 75 minutes is up, and we are going to just turn the heat off, and that is all. You don't have to do anything else, just turn your heat off. And what you're gonna do now is you're just basically waiting for this dial gauge to come all the way down to 0. When that happens, we'll come back and go through the next step. Okay, so this is all down to, the pressure is down to 0. It's been sitting here a long time, a few hours, so I know that it's okay. So pull that off, make sure there's no steam that comes out, and there's not. Then you just turn your lid and lift it away. A lot of the times there'll be a lot of steam that comes out, but that's it. They're all done. You can see in here, they're just chilling in there, and I will take them out, set them on the towel, and then tomorrow I will take the bands off and give them a wash and put them in the pantry, and that's it. They're all done. So hope you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.